Welcome to Trending Unpacked, the show where we break down the stories behind the internet's biggest conversations. Today, we're looking into something that's just, well, exploded. You see it everywhere, TikTok, Instagram feeds, definitely all over Xiaohongshu. It's got millions talking, collecting, kind of obsessing, really. It's taken the world by storm. We are talking about Labubu.
Have you spotted these characters? They're very distinct, sort of rabbit-like, often quite mischievous looking. They're not just cute, though. There's this almost impish charm, hard to miss. And they've gone from being these niche art toys to, like, global icons almost overnight. It feels that fast anyway. So you might be thinking, okay, what is Labubu? And, what's really driving this incredible surge? How does a little creature like this become such a huge deal?
That's a great question, and it really gets us into the heart of, well, modern consumer culture, doesn't it? Because Labubu isn't just another toy hitting it big. It's more like this perfect storm, a convergence of unique art, really smart business, and something deeply human, that desire we have to collect things, to connect with others, that thrill of discovery. We're going to peek behind the curtain a bit, look at the, frankly, surprising money involved with these little figures, and the community is really passionate, sometimes, obsessive communities popping up around them. And we'll explore how these viral trends get started, sure, but also how they're carefully, nurtured and kept going in our super connected world. It really goes beyond just a toy. It's kind of a window into how we find joy, maybe identity and connection today, often in really unexpected places.
Okay, let's really unpack this then. For anyone maybe just hearing about Labubu or seeing them for the first time, what exactly is it? That look is so unique. It's definitely not your standard fluffy bunny toy, and I think, like you said, that's a big part of the appeal.
You've nailed it right there. That's the core attraction. Labubu is, best described as this mischievous, rabbit-like creature. It grabs your attention straight away. Those signature big ears, very expressive, but then also, and this is the twist, those sharp, almost fang-like teeth. It's that mix that gives it the whole creepy cute thing people talk about. It's charming, it's adorable, but there's that hint of, playful naughtiness or rebellion, maybe. It avoids being overly sweet, which a lot of collectibles go for. Instead, it has this kind of emotional ambiguity that's really captivating. It pulls you in with the cuteness, but then the little bit of edge makes you smile, makes it memorable. And Labubu isn't alone. It's actually a main character in a whole family called the Monsters.
This entire line was dreamed up by Ka-Sing Lung, an illustrator from Hong Kong. His whole idea was to create characters that weren't just conventionally cute. He wanted something more playful, maybe a bit cheeky, and that really seems to hit home with people looking for something a bit more complex, a bit edgier. Certainly stands out.
It feels less like just a product designed to be cute and more like a character with its own little personality.
Right, Ka-Sing Lung. So he's a creative mind behind it all. How did his art, his vision turn into this global thing? It feels like it wasn't just accidental.
No, definitely not accidental. Ka-Sing Lung is absolutely the creative force, the originator of Labubu. He's well respected in the art toy world. That's a scene where artists make these limited run designer toys, often blurring lines between art and collectibles. He first created Labubu as part of the Monsters collection, putting his unique style and sort of storytelling into it. Early on, his work was mainly loved by a smaller group, art toy fans who really appreciated the artistry and the unique look. Lung's real skill was giving Labubu that specific blend, endearing, playful, but with that touch of mischief. That's what set it apart right from the start. But, going from an artist's concept to a worldwide sensation usually needs a boost. And that's where Pop Mart stepped in. They were the crucial platform, the strategic partner, really, that took Labubu and just launched it into the mainstream, made it a cultural phenomenon everyone could access. Pop Mart didn't just sell Labubu. They really understood how to amplify its appeal using this revolutionary business model.
Okay, yeah, Pop Mart. This is where it gets really interesting for me. Because they aren't just some toy company. They're like an empire now, right? How did they, and this whole blind box thing they do, become so massive? And how did that fuel Labubu's incredible rise?
Oh, absolutely. Pop Mart's story is genuinely remarkable and, totally tied up with Labubu's success. They started in Beijing back in 2010, founded by Wang Ning. Initially, they were just a lifestyle retailer selling various things. It wasn't until around 2016 when they pivoted hard into this blind box collectible toy model that things just exploded for them. In a surprisingly short time, they built what's now, widely seen as a billion-dollar empire. Their market cap has been huge, sometimes over $10 million. And their core strategy, the real engine of their success, is these blind box toys. If you're not familiar, the idea is ingenious but simple. You buy a sealed box.
Right, and you have no idea which specific character or design from the series is inside until you open it.
Exactly. That element of surprise, that anticipation, it's not just a fun little extra. It's fundamental to why it works so well. It
Okay.
makes buying it feel like less of a transaction and more like an event, a little gamble
Yeah,
almost.
you're buying the experience of the reveal.
Obviously, you're buying that moment of discovery, that little thrill. And this mystery component is really what drives their success. It taps into basic human psychology, the excitement building up as you open it, the reveal itself, hoping you get a rare one, or maybe even a super rare secret edition, which are deliberately made much harder to find and often worth more. It creates this really powerful emotional loop. It makes people want to come back, try again, maybe complete the set, find that elusive chase figure, or just get that dopamine hit again. Pop Mart basically mastered using our natural love for surprise and turned it into this self-feeding collecting culture. Hashtag global expansion and the mechanics of modern collecting.
Okay, so they definitely figured out how to make it work locally. But like we said, this isn't just a China phenomenon anymore. I feel like I see Labubu and other Pop Mart stuff everywhere now. Online, yeah, but also physical shops, those cool vending machines. They seem to be everywhere globally. Their international push looks huge.
It is huge and incredibly well managed. Their expansion strategy has been really ambitious, yeah, but also very effective. They've pushed way beyond China to become a proper global brand. They've built up a big international presence pretty quickly using several channels. They have these curated physical stores, often in really prime, trendy spots in big cities. They feel more like brand experiences than just shops.
Yeah, they look very slick.
Right. And then maybe even more innovative are their robo-shops, those automated vending machines. They're not like your typical snack machine. They're sleek, interactive, almost like little art pieces themselves. Makes buying a collectible an easy impulse purchase, but also kind of cool.
Right, makes it very accessible.
Super accessible. And their reach is growing fast. Not just across Asia, they're huge in South Korea, Japan, Singapore, but now significantly in the US too. They have flagship stores in New York, LA. And they're popping up more and more across Europe, the UK, France. So this really wide distribution, plus a strong online store, means figures like Labubu are just readily available globally. That accessibility, combined with their marketing, is a massive part of why it's become such a craze everywhere. It turned a potential niche into a global moment, allows trends to spread instantly.
So, okay, you get one, you open the box.
Yeah.
What happens then? Because it feels like getting the toy is just the start. It kicks off this whole culture around it.
Exactly. The moment you get that Labubu, you're not just buying a thing. You're kind of buying entry into this really active social scene. One of the most obvious signs is just the sheer volume of Labubu content online. TikTok, Instagram, Xiaohongshu especially, just flooded with unboxing videos.
Oh yeah, the unboxings are huge.
Huge. And they're not just quick reveals. People make a performance out of it, capturing that excitement, sharing their polls, whether it's common or rare, or the super rare secret one, celebrating what they got. It creates the shared excitement that pulls other people in, makes them want to try too. And beyond the unboxing, people show off their collections, they customize them, build little scenes.
Dioramas and stuff.
Yeah, exactly. And they chat online constantly about new releases, trading tips. This social sharing is actually baked into Pop Mart's strategy through something called the scarcity effect.
Yeah.
It's a basic psych principle. If something seems rare, we want it more. Pop Mart deliberately makes limited editions that sell out, like, instantly.
Artificial scarcity.
Right. It's intentionally created scarcity. And it works. It makes things seem more desirable and creates this massive sense of regency. Buy it now or it's gone forever. That's powerful FOMO, fear of missing out, driving sales.
And that scarcity must fuel the resale market too.
Oh, massively. There's a huge secondary market. You've got dedicated trading groups online, resale platforms like StockX, eBay, and some limited editions can go for 10 times their retail price, sometimes way more. Easily.
Wow.
Yeah, a $10 figure selling for hundreds within hours isn't unusual for the really sought-after ones. It just shows the intense demand and, honestly, the speculative side of it, too. Now, we should say, this model, effective as it is, gets criticism.
I was going to ask about that.
Yeah, there's debate about using this artificial scarcity and what some call gambling-like mechanics. Critics point out that the blind box thing, especially with the chance of super rare figures, feels like a variable ratio reinforcement schedule.
Like slot machines.
Exactly the same principle that makes slots addictive. Rewards are unpredictable. You don't know when you'll win by getting a rare one. And that design can really push compulsive People call it box fever. Collectors spending tons trying to finish a set or find that one rare figure. So it definitely contributes to the hype, turns collecting from a hobby into something maybe more driven, potentially expensive, maybe even problematic for some. It highlights that tricky line between smart marketing and, exploiting psychology. #tag internet theories and cultural interpretations.
That's really interesting how the business model itself taps into these deep psychological drives. It's not just about the cute toy. Let's go back to the toy itself, though, that unique look. Why is it so compelling? That creepy cute thing you mentioned.
Yeah.
It really stands out.
It really does.
Yeah.
And that aesthetic is absolutely key to why it's broken through. It steps away from just being conventionally cute, which can feel a bit bland sometimes, Labubu's charm is in how it kind of twists that. You've got the cute parts, big ears, small body, but then the sharp teeth, the slightly cheeky, maybe even deadpan expression. It creates this interesting mix. It's appealing, but the quirks suggest more personality, maybe a bit of a rebel spirit.
Yeah, not just sweet.
Not just sweet. And that seems to really connect with, say, Gen Z's tastes. They often seem drawn to things that are unconventional, maybe a bit different, authentic, things that don't fit neat boxes, that challenge norms. Labubu isn't just another generic cute thing. It feels distinct, almost like an outsider you root for.
Right, it has character.
Exactly, it has character. And in a market flooded with collectibles trying to be perfectly sweet, Labubu stands out because of its quirks. It makes it memorable and really appealing to people looking for something with a bit more edge.
So that's the visual pull. What about the brain science again? When you actually open the box, that thrill feels so real.
Oh, it is very real. And that brings us right back to the psychology of collecting, supercharged by the blind box. The key is that mystery, the surprise element. The second you buy one, your brain kicks into anticipation mode. And that anticipation, not knowing the outcome, triggers a dopamine release. Dopamine, the neurotransmitter linked to pleasure, reward, motivation.
The feel-good chemical.
Exactly. Your brain is basically saying, ooh, this could be good, let's do this again. And it's not just getting the reward, it's the waiting for it that fuels the system. The comparison to slot machines or gambling is pretty direct, maybe even a bit concerning.
Because you don't always win.
Right. That's the variable ratio reinforcement. You pull the lever, open the box, you hope for the jackpot, the rare figure. You don't always get it. But those occasional wins, getting a figure you wanted, or especially a rare one, are super effective at making you want to try again. It creates this cycle: desire, anticipation, sometimes reward, repeat. Very hard for our brains to resist. That built-in mechanism is just incredibly good at keeping people buying.
And it's not just happening in isolation, right? There's this massive social side to it. People aren't just collecting alone in their rooms.
No, definitely not. The individual thrill gets amplified massively by being part of the group. We talked about scarcity fueling FOMO, that fear of missing out. Limited editions drop, sell out instantly, creates this pressure to buy now.
So you're part of the conversation.
Exactly. You don't want to be left out of the buzz, misowning the rare thing everyone's talking about. It pushes people to jump in. But beyond just buying, collecting Labubu becomes really social. Fans connect online constantly. They trade figures actively. I'll give you this common one for that one you need. Trying to complete sets. It's like a mini economy.
Right. The trading aspect is huge.
Huge. And they show off their collections, their latest pulls on social media. They get likes, comments, validation from other fans. That interaction builds this strong sense of belonging. Think about opening a really rare one and immediately sharing it online with thousands who get just as excited as you are.
Yeah, that shared joy must be powerful.
Immensely powerful. It reinforces the whole activity, strengthens the community, makes collecting feel even more rewarding. It's a feedback loop.
Looking at all this, the hype, the collecting, the scarcity, it feels familiar somehow, like we've seen this movie before with other things.
Oh, absolutely. You're spot on. While the Labubu has its unique flavor and the digital aspect amplifies it, it definitely echoes other big collectible crazes from the past. There are clear parallels. You can draw a direct line to trends with very similar hype cycles.
Like what? What comes to mind?
Well, think about Pokemon cards back in the late 90s, early 2000s. Kids, adults, everyone scrambling for rare holographics, trading furiously. Huge secondary market.
Right, I remember that.
Or more recently, Funko Pops.
Yep.
Building an empire on collecting endless pop culture figures, often with store exclusives and limited runs driving this crazy hunt.
Yeah, they're everywhere.
And maybe the classic example, going back a bit further, Beanie Babies in the 90s. That was a textbook case of artificial scarcity and speculation, turning a simple plush toy into this intense, though ultimately short-lived, investment bubble.
Ah, yes, the Beanie Baby bubble.
Exactly. In all these cases, you saw that initial viral buzz, fueled by novelty and a passionate fan base. They all had these intense collector groups willing to go to great lengths, spend serious money to get rare items or complete sets. And crucially, they all spawned big secondary markets where prices for certain items skyrocketed, often driven by speculation about future value. And in every case, it raised that same question. Is this real value or just a temporary fad? The patterns are definitely there, the thrill, the scarcity, the community, the speculation. It's a cycle.
Okay, so if the patterns are so similar, what makes Labubu different, if anything? Is it just a 2020s version of Beanie Babies with pointier teeth, or is something actually new happening here?
That's the critical question, isn't it? Are we just seeing history rhyme, or is this genuinely an evolution? While the core psychology and market dynamics feel familiar, there are, I think, some important differences that make Labubu and Pop Mart's whole approach feel like a significant step forward, not just a repeat. For starters, Pop Mart's global distribution model is way more sophisticated, using not just stores, but those slick robo-shops everywhere, gives them instant, widespread physical reach that maybe wasn't quite there for earlier crazes.
Yeah, the tech makes a difference.
Definitely. You can stumble upon a Labubu blind box almost anywhere in a major city worldwide now. And maybe more importantly, the blind box model itself, while it has roots in things like Japanese gashapon toys, has been perfected and tied so tightly to social media and unboxing culture. The way things go viral on TikTok or Xiangshu, it creates instant global buzz, validates the collecting instantly. The speed and reach of that digital word of mouth is just way beyond what pre-internet trends could manage.
So the online community aspect is much stronger, much faster.
Much stronger, much faster, much more global. And Pop Mart often works directly with artists like Casing Lung, giving it this art toy credibility. That might distinguish it from purely mass market collectibles. It adds a layer of perceived cultural value. So it really leads to that dilemma. Do the similarities mean Labubu is doomed to follow the path of some past fad's peak interest, then decline? Or is something different this time? Maybe the art connection, the strength of that digital community, Pop Mart's constant innovation. Could those things give it more staying power? Make it less of a fad and more of a fixture? It's really compelling to think about. #tag analysis and takeaway.
Right, that's the big question for anyone buying these, isn't it? So let's try and pull it all together. What's the verdict on Labubu? Is it just another collectible flash in the pan destined to fade? Or could it actually be a lasting cultural icon?
It really is the million-dollar question, maybe literally for some collectors.
Oh, yeah.
And yeah, looking at the long-term value, you have to weigh both sides, especially thinking about those past examples like Beanie Babies versus, say, Pokemon cards, which have shown more endurance. You can make a strong case for Labubu being more of a fad. The main point there is how much it relies on that artificial scarcity.
That it can't last forever.
Exactly. It's brilliant for launching hype, but constantly creating limited editions can eventually either flood the market or just burn out collectors. That intense hype cycle is really hard to maintain long term. We saw it before: peak interest, peak resale prices, then a slow fade as novelty wears off or the market gets saturated or the next big thing comes along. It can feel like a mini bubble built on excitement and rarity, not necessarily lasting value. The risk is today's hot secret figure ends up forgotten on a shelf.
Okay, but what's the argument for it lasting? Becoming iconic?
Well, there are good points there too. A big one is the community. Unlike maybe some past crazes focused just on buying and flipping, the Labubu community seems really interconnected online. It's a genuine subculture. That shared passion and interaction could give it more resilience, keep interest going, even if the initial frenzy cools down. Plus, Casing Lung's artistic vision, that unique, creepy, cute style, is genuinely original. It resonates. It gives Labubu a stronger identity than maybe some generic collectibles.
And Pop Mart keeps innovating, right? New series, collaboration.
Exactly. Their constant stream of new content, new characters, partnerships, cool retail experiences that could keep things fresh and sustain relevance. So Labubu's future probably depends on a few things. Can Pop Mart keep releasing cool stuff? Can they evolve their marketing without exhausting people? And, what happens with broader trends? Will it successfully shift from just being trendy to being truly iconic? The foundation is strong, but the future's unwritten.
We've talked about the genuine excitement people feel. But how much of this huge success comes down to Pop Mart's really smart, maybe even calculated, strategy shaping how people behave? They seem to have the formula down pat.
It's definitely a mix, right? There's real love for the design, for sure. But Pop Mart's business model is incredibly effective at intentionally steering consumer behavior. They haven't just stumbled upon psychological triggers, they've honed them. Think about that artificial scarcity again. It's not an accident, it's a core tactic. Releasing limited runs that vanish instantly creates constant desire and urgency. It makes collectors feel they have to buy now.
It's the market hot.
Constantly hot. And then the gambling like blind box mechanic. We talked about the dopamine rush, the thrill of the unknown, hoping for that rare pull. It's all designed to encourage repeat buying. It taps right into our brain's reward pathways, making each purchase feel like a potential win. These strategies work together perfectly to maximize engagement, encourage repeat spending, and turn casual buyers into dedicated collectors. Their financial success isn't luck, it's the result of expertly leveraging psychology.
So stepping back even further, looking at the big picture, what does this whole Labubu thing and trends like it tell us about us, especially adults collecting these things? It feels bigger than just toys.
Oh, absolutely. This is where Labubu becomes like a mirror reflecting some really interesting shifts in our culture, especially for adults. The bigger story is this undeniable trend of adults reclaiming toys, not just out of nostalgia, but as a real part of their lifestyle, their identity, how they express themselves.
So it's not just for kids anymore.
Not at all. For many adults, things like Labubu are symbols. Symbols of individuality, a way to show off unique taste, personality, maybe even a bit of their worldview. It connects to a few things. Yeah, there's nostalgia, wanting that simple joy toys brought, maybe as an escape from adult stress. But it's also self-expression. In a world that can feel very digital and impersonal, having physical collectibles lets people curate their space, their image, signal what they're into.
And find community too, right?
Critically important. In a world that can feel isolating, shared hobbies like collecting are huge for connection. Collecting Labubu lets you express your taste, sure, but it also connects you instantly with thousands of others who get it. You find your tribe online, bonding over shared passions.
So it's about identity and connection as much as the object itself.
Exactly. It reflects how our online and offline lives are blending. What you show off digitally matters. And it shows that search for real connection in a digital world. Sharing that unboxing, trading that figure, you're building bonds. So yeah, Labubu isn't just a toy, it's this fascinating cultural object, reflecting our need for surprise, connection, maybe a bit of that mischievous joy, and new ways to express who we are. Makes you think, doesn't it? What does your collection, whatever it might be, say about you? What stories are you telling? Hashtag tag outro.
Wow, okay. That was quite the exploration into the Labubu universe. We really unpacked it from Kessing Lung's unique art to Pop Mart's incredibly smart and, complex business model with the blind boxes and global reach. We got into the psychology, the mystery, the scarcity, the FOMO, and thought about what it means when adults embrace collectibles like this for identity and connection. Hopefully you, listening, will see these trends a bit differently now, noticing the art, yes, but also the clever psychology behind it all.
Definitely. And it's worth remembering, whether it's Labubu or something else, these objects often tap into really basic human needs for play, for finding cool things, for connecting with others. It's fascinating how that shows up in things like a mischievous little rabbit figure today.
Absolutely fascinating. Well, thank you for joining us on Trending Unpacked. Next time, we are tackling another giant in the collecting world. We're taking a close look at Pokemon cards. Why are they still such a massive deal decades later? What's the secret to their staying power? You won't want to miss that conversation.